Doctor, so we will again do the same introduction first, and then Chinmay, I'll get back to you. Anil, you need to
Okay.
drop a text when we are live. Because I'm going by the timer on the display. Yes, so we are live. Good evening, everyone. With me is Dr. Chinmay in Ankleshwaria, a good student of mine, and I must congratulate him because his success story is one that you all can actually learn from and look at the perseverance and patience, and not only that, to get the clarity of methodology of preparation, but also how you can actually break the barriers while doing your duty or even bond duties, how you can make into the big league. So Dr. Chinmay Ankleshwaria was a full cross subscriber of not only NEET SS package but also INISS cardiology package with Dr. tutorials, and he has secured rank 14 both in All India merit list, AIMS merit list, as well as common merit list, which means that he's probably going to get the seats of his choice, barring couple of institutes, and that's going to get him into the good central institute seat. But again, I was discussing off label, off record with him, and he was like, "Sir, I'm wondering if I should take the seat or try maybe to figure in the top three, maybe one more time." So that's a different call. But before that happens, I think he's going to increase his own competition by sharing his own success story. So congratulations, Dr. Chinmay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So Chinmay did his MBBS from Surat, and he did his MD from BJ Medical College, and he was serving the bond duty while he was preparing along with the emergency duties. He was preparing for the INI as well as NEET SS. So Chinmay, you were pretty clear, I know, right from the beginning to make it to cardiology. I mean, that was very clear. So how was your preparation? Let's go back and start from your MD days. How did you start preparing? That would be the first question. What your methodology was?
Sir, from right from the beginning, sir, I was very focused on cardiology because that was my natural interest. I would say that the other part of medicine is, for me, it was quite weak. But naturally, I was very involved into cardiology, so I did not think about the other part. But I would say that people should also focus on the medicine part, because sometimes the 25 to 30 questions that we get, they become the
Yes.
rank deciding questions.
Right.
uh,
I was
but
we were
yeah.
we were analyzing Dr. Chinmay's paper, and I think he had done
Yeah.
fairly well in cardiology section.
Yeah.
I think that couple
Yeah.
of questions here and there, that's the difference between being in top three versus the rank that Chinmay got. So I think it's a
Yeah.
very nearby close. It does not reflect the performance or the knowledge. And I know Chinmay is very brilliant and he is thorough with this topic. And I always used to tell him, I'm sure he's going to make it to the cardiology in the top list. And I'm very happy with your performance, though you are slightly disappointed and you thought maybe you'll do. But I'm very happy with your performance, Chinmay. So let's start as to in your MD days, you used to
Yeah.
study, like, because you had decided you were doing cardiology. Did you start
Yeah.
reading specified textbooks for cardiology like Brunwald's during your MD residency itself, and doing the medicine part from Harrison, or you were doing Harrison first and then later on started thinking of picking up subject specialty books, or maybe just picked it up later part after your MD is finished? That's when you started, subscribing to doc tutorials and then learning and then picking up a Brunwald. What was your strategy of doing the hardcore cardiology preparation during
So
residency?
for cardiology, sir, I was not able to refer to the main textbook Bronwell to that extent. If somebody has them, then it's well and good. But along with the duties and the NEET SS exam, because you cannot ignore the NEET SS exams also when you are preparing for INI. So I basically focused on the videos and the notes that I had prepared from the videos. And I think the main crux of the preparation would be the number of questions that you practice, and that is most probably your prep year. If it's your final year, then it's third year, or for me it was my post final year. So first you would want to clear your theories from the video part, make notes of it, give it a thorough revision, then go on to the questions. You solve as many number of questions that you want to. And I think doc tutorials has a very good question bank which helps you
Right.
clear all your concepts.
Yeah, I
So
think I
that was
remember
my basic
this
strategy.
discussing with Dr. Chinmay as to, I think he's the one who's probably, utilized the question bank so thoroughly. He's done those question banks that are available to him multiple times. Can you just give me a rough number? How many times you've gone through those question banks?
Sir, all the tests, I think I have done them once and then went through the uh, bookmark questions again
Right.
for the second
Okay.
time.
And
Sir,
the Q bank,
one
the
thing I would,
50,000 plus.
sir, that I have done twice at least.
Yeah, so that's a
Yeah,
big difference. I mean, Chinmay
yeah,
was very thorough with the question bank. He's been doing those, like going through those 50,000 odd questions more than twice. And then
again and
actually he
again.
used to send me a couple of doubts across with a snapshot, or sir, what
Yeah,
should be in my personalized discussion as to, sir, why not option C? Why is the option B the correct one that's marked, or is it a mistake? That kind of analysis, when you try to put across, you actually grasp the concept more clearly. And then once you have discussed something like that with faculty, you will never go wrong on those
hmm,
questions. So that
that's
was
true.
one good strategy Dr. Chinmay used, to critically analyze questions and their options and think why the option B or not C, or maybe why C and not D, is kind of a strategy, which was, I think, I came across. And a couple of times actually he pointed out that the two of the options were correct, and sir, both of them are correct, or one of them, more than one, is correct. And then we used to discuss it out with the back end team. That's how it needs to be corrected, etc. as well. So that was
Yeah.
one good strategy. So Chinmay, let's begin with your doc tutorials journey. When did you subscribe to it, and was it at the end of your residency, or it was during your MD residency that you subscribed to it?
Sir, I subscribed to it at the end of my residency.
Okay,
That means
but before your
I was
MD
already
exam.
yeah, yeah. So when I started seriously preparing for it, I already had doc tutorials and I was doing the questions that doc tutorials had.
Right.
And I've always told my colleagues that whoever has always, I mean, people asking for me, how have you prepared? That you should go for doc tutorials because you get the INIs, you get the question bank, and then you get Dr. Kamal Sharma, sir. So that is all because you have been available to me. I think I have texted you around 11 p.m. in the night, 1 a.m. in the night, but you have always replied to all my questions, sir. So I owe it to you.
No, no, thank you very much. I mean, that's what I try to do. If I am
Yeah,
awake, and whatever time it be, I remember one of the students actually 3 a.m. I was
yeah,
working back from an emergency primary angioplasty. I was awake, and somebody has dropped a text to me asking for a doubt, and I'd replied him back, and he said, "Sir, are you awake?" I said, "Yeah, I'm awake because I was back from a primary PCI, and if there is a message, I don't, because then I feel that's how I deal with things. If they prop up and I forget, if I don't answer immediately, then it's gone." So yeah, that's one way I as a faculty that I intend to do. Yes, so coming back
yeah,
to your preparation, I think you raised a very important point, that it's not that you should wait for your residency to get over and then subscribe to the study material. You started
yeah.
actually going through the videos and making your own notes for the subspecialty, including cardiology, of your own. So can you tell me
Yes,
the
sir.
quality of videos, especially in cardiology, when you were preparing? uh, there are a lot of videos available, otherwise free videos, other videos. Compared to that, the videos that
Hmm.
sometimes that we as a faculty put, sometimes we are told they are too easy, or they are told too tough. What we try to
Yeah,
do is to keep it around oriented into the new concepts that are likely to be asked and focused upon, because you don't expect same set of question bank to keep on emerging. So what has been a
yeah,
bro beaten path of ASD being taught from development and the
yeah,
same aspect, that's not something that is going to be repeated multiple times. You will have some questions on ECG, you will have some questions on shunt quantification, which is going to be the part of the new question bank strategy, because the question bank has to roll, it has to rotate. So a lot of times our topics and the videos are designed in a fashion which is off the track, off beat methodology. So how did you prepare for those aspects? Because that would require you also to go through the notes that are already there with the standard books, plus the videos that we shared. How you were trying to amalgamate that, and how do you rate the videos that you went through in the learning in cardiology?
yeah. So your videos, cardiology as a subject is very conceptual, sir. Even if I take the content from Braunwald and read it around 10 times, I would not get the gist of it. And unless and until you get the gist of the concept, you cannot crack the MCQ. And that is there is where a good tutor is needed. And your videos, sir, are so conceptual that if 1 hour long topic, if you have taught us in 20 minutes, we'll get the main concept that lies in the topic. So I think I can understand all the topics from your videos and then go and crack the MCQs from the uh, question bank. That would be the
Right.
main strategy.
Right. So that's what I say. I mean, there is no point, in teaching you guys
Yeah,
overstretching things on topics like, say, Wool's anomaly. I mean, I can go and talk on Wool's anomaly for 2 hours, but that's
it's
not
very
going
wide,
to
sir.
give you any benefit. Like, I can talk about the origin trigon of an arrhythmia for an ARVD. I mean, that's not going to give you any, maybe one MCQ may prop out of that, but that's a substantial loss of time which you can utilize for solving more likely questions and
That's
read the
true.
topic instead of passing comment, or maybe, say, for example, a long QT syndrome. So in long QT
Yeah,
syndrome, there's no point of me blabbing around all the mutations, all the receptors, for hours and hours, unless I tell you what kind of long QT comes with what clinical profile. So
very true, sir.
so and again, you look, I mean, the long QT syndrome is taught and on all the platforms. There are big videos on that, but you hardly find one question coming out of it. So you end up preparing for
Yeah.
like hours and hours, and then you don't get actually one question out of it. But instead, if
So
you were
for
to be given one
INI,
MCQ,
yeah.
that's good enough. Even I and
For
I, for
INI,
that
sir, we
matter.
have to work smarter, not harder.
Absolute,
That's what I believe.
absolute.
Because, sir, there are very certain topics that they usually ask. And I cannot
Right,
go about reading everything in cardiology just for understanding a very small subject that they are definitely going to ask. So I'd rather focus on topic based study and not gaining a lot of knowledge about the subject you are preparing for.
right. So there are a lot of spotters that people tend to prepare, the X-rays, the ECG, the spotters that can be commonly asked as a image-based question. How often is it asked? Number one, and two, was that adequately covered in doc tutorials?
Sir, it was very adequately covered in doctorals. Sir, your all the TND sessions, especially that are present in doctorals, and the spotter videos that you have discussed, plus all
Yes.
the discussions of the test you have given, I think that would be more than enough to prepare, because then you should have the capacity to understand the question, then rule out. You don't need to have a thorough knowledge of everything, because
Right.
that's not possible. And especially in cardiology, it's very wide and it's very growing, so you would not be able to do that always.
Right. Yeah, I also tell sometimes, like congenital heart disease. If I was just to talk about each congenital heart disease in detail, that would be a topic on pediatric cardiology post DM fellowship, that I can cover. But
Yeah,
that's not
that's not
something that I
possible.
need to prepare you. I need to just tell you the three physiologies: what is a fellow physiology, what is a DTGA physiology, what is Eisenmenger physiology, which disorder fall into it, and how do you approach and treat them. That's good enough. If you know the
Yeah.
classification, you can clinically approach that. I think that was one of the questions that was asked as an spotter, which was probably, I was told, a TGA,
Yes,
or
sir.
was it a ASD or something?
It's a
Um,
TJ.
ASD was not likely
So,
the cause, or something like that.
yeah, ASD was not likely the cause.
Right. So there was a chest X-ray flooding. So increased plethora versus oligamia, and what condition you would
Yeah.
have plethora, not have plethora at a child that is born, newborn child. So
So
if
plus
you
it
know
was
the
a newborn
concepts,
child,
then
son.
you get
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So that is the whole point, right? So tell me about you. I've been in touch with you for last like 1.5 year, probably around a year now,
Yes.
and there is a WhatsApp group that we have where we do the group discussion and daily questions. So how was that WhatsApp discussion helpful, as for the preparation for both NEET SS and INISS?
Sir, for me, when I study a question, I usually analyze in a way that, okay, I know the correct answer, but why the other three options would not fit into that answer. I think that helps you clear your concept. You have a very crystal clear view of what the aims examiner is trying to ask you. If you are clear
Right.
with that, what they want to test you on, then I think you can crack aims very easily, because they are very focused on certain concepts that they would test in every year. For example, ASD, there is always a question on ASD. So
Absolutely.
you have to be clear with that. You might
Right.
not know double outlet right ventricle, you might not know DOLV. That wouldn't matter. If another student knows about
Absolutely.
it, he was not going to score more than you. You
Absolutely.
should know about
Absolutely.
ASD. So that is a
Absolutely.
smart way out. You cannot slog your studies for INI preparations.
Absolutely. So, like, I mean, there are topics like JVP, you'll always have two questions. There will always be a
Yeah.
question on echo and Doppler findings of maybe dynamic auscultation or maybe constriction, which you will always be asked. There'll be always a question, as you said, on ASD. There'll be one question somewhere about DVT or pulmonary embolism, like of Cantley scenario. And then you end up, preparing for hours on acute coronary syndrome, and you get up only two or three questions.
Yeah.
So it's a
Three
big, big,
questions.
big section, but it's so underrepresented in exam. And that's the reason. I mean, you prepare so much for intervention cardiology, you will hardly get even one image. So this time they asked
Yeah,
you one
that's
image,
true.
and that was also on transplant. So I mean, that's the one that you don't read. So
Nobody's
so
going to
I think
crack that, sir.
yeah, so you're very right. I
Yeah.
mean, it's very important that you should be preparing smartly, not just because this is a topic that's elite topic, and this is something that everybody else
Nobody
is
will be
reading,
knowing.
so I should prepare. Exam, it is not going to ask you for exit exam, it's only for the entrance exam. So that's a very good strategy that you've brought out. Very important points Dr. Chinmay has brought out. So on the WhatsApp group that we do, the polls, how are they helpful? I used to create questions with option and as a polls, and I always used to see Chinmay always vote. So there'll be like 1,000 plus participants in the group, but there'll be only 50, 70, 80, 100 students participating. But I think Chinmay would always vote, and he would make sure that
Yes.
he was not ashamed of whether he felt wrong or right. I think, does that strategy matter? I mean, I always used to discuss this with him, and he always used to say it's good to be wrong here in the WhatsApp group rather than in the MCQ in the
Yes,
exams.
sir.
So how was that WhatsApp group discussion helpful?
So the WhatsApp group for me was a part of my continuous learning. For example, if I was not being able to study because of uh, uh, long hours of study, or if I was busy in my duties, then I would go through the questions that you had already discussed on the WhatsApp group. So in a way, for me, it was a part of my main strategy of study, where I was not being able to give time on the theory part. So I would just go through the questions. And the best part is that you give very precise, I would not say detailed explanations, you give very precise explanations of the questions, that you need to know this much about this and not more than that. So that is the best part
Absolutely.
of MCQ discussions that you have always offered us on the WhatsApp groups.
Right. So that group is free, and those who are preparing, if they want to join, the link will be shared by Dr. Toral's team. You can join that WhatsApp group. So, Dr. Chinmay, once you cracked the exam, you knew that the interviews were slated. So we always do a mock interview session. So how
Yes.
was the mock interview session that we did with you? And I, of course, get this lot of comments, and a lot of students join the mock interview session with us, even from the other platforms to participate. So that, and we don't ever deny them. Of course, we try to mentor our students first. But how was that experience with you, and how did that mock interview session help you to face the final interviews?
Sir, mock interviews are the golden part of preparation with doctor trails, because, sir, I think no other, this is very true, no other app would provide mock interviews like you have done, sir. And almost for each student, you have given 10 minutes of time, and that would be around 10 to 15 questions. And so we had around 40 students. So that amounts to around 400 questions of interview. Ultimately, sir, we were asked almost the same questions that you had trained us for, and I have attended 2 to 3 of your sessions, so my interview questions are very close to the questions that you have asked. And the best part is that it is a part of breaking the barrier. If you are very nervous about
Absolutely.
interviews, then it helps you lose all your fear, because I think I have attended 4 sessions that you have done, 2 in the previous
Right.
exam and 2
Yes.
this time. So I was very fearless about my interviews this time,
And also,
just
I
because of
forced Chinmay to get a
oh,
haircut as well prior
yeah.
to the. That was the lighter part of it. I said, Chinmay,
So
you're
I
looking
scored
smart, but you should look cardiology. And
I
Chinmay
scored
complied.
around 16 out of 20. So I think that's the if I had not made some silly mistakes, I would have scored 17. I think not more than that. So interview
So no,
was
I
very
think
good
you
for
did
me.
well in the interviews. You got 16,
Yeah,
right, out of 20?
yeah, I got 16,
Yeah,
sir.
so that's a fantastic score actually.
Yeah,
So I think as we were discussing, probably because some of the questions there were some mistakes in the medicine
yeah.
part and some mistakes in cardiology.
Hmm.
One or two questions here and there, and that's the difference between somebody else or you. So that's how it
Yeah,
was.
that's why.
But anyway, this is very enlightening. So you were doing in the meanwhile emergency as well, right? You
Sir,
were
I had,
working.
yeah, I was working. I did not have emergencies duty, but sir, I was on call when they needed me for references and things. So, yeah,
So
but
how
it
did you
was not
balance that out?
very
Because a
long.
lot of students have been working and preparing with compared to dedicated preparing students. So working
Yeah.
between the two, how did you strategize using your WhatsApp groups while working, video notes or free access of that you had? We extended your access. I remember that. So
Yeah.
the doc tutorial videos that were there. So were you able to access them on duty on the videos? You go open up your app on the mobile phone because this is one of the platform compliant on phone. So you can open up and on the link and go through the videos and while in between the work times that you get. Was that helpful?
Sir, whenever I was busy, my main target was that out of 24 hours, I should be putting in info about cardiology from any source and by any means that I could. So, and that is where I have used doc tutorials. Mainly the MCQ part I have always done on my duty. If I had some time, I would go and do around 30 to 40 MCQs and read their explanations. Plus, I have also used I'd say the T&A discussions that have been very useful
Okay.
for me.
Yes.
And sir, revising the previous year questions, I think that would be a great strategy. If you are
Yeah, that is
busy, if
very
you have
important.
20 to 30 minutes of time, you can just go and look at the previous year questions, because there's short, you'll be asked around 6 to 7 questions every year, every
Absolutely.
exam. So
Yeah, the
you
PYQs are
can,
important, especially the recent
yeah.
ones. True. So your tips now, I mean, firstly, how would you rate doc tutorials and me as faculty? And then how would you recommend that to the others? Let's have that. And then we can have your final comprehensive input for the students as to how they should be preparing.
Sir, Dr. Troll, I would rate 10 on 10, and sir, you as a faculty, I would rate 100 on 10, sir. So
Hundred.
genuinely, I'd say, I'd say I owe everything, everything to you for this rank, sir.
No, it's a pleasure. Chinmay, you've been a great learner too. I mean, uh,
Yeah.
you have been very kind and generous in appreciating me. But it's been, as they always say, it's also upon to the pupil to learn. Teachers will teach the same to 10 students. Five will pick it well, five won't. So the equal credit goes to you. So, how would you finally tell somebody who's preparing what his or her strategy should be if they are planning to begin now at the end of their residency, maybe third year or second year? How would you recommend them to start preparing for INI as well as for NEET?
Sir, I'd say point one would be keep your medicine basics clear. You don't need extraordinary knowledge about medicine to crack INI. Second would be, if you are very curious about a particular branch, then dig deep into it. You can have as much knowledge about it till the till your last year. Once you are into your prep year, or around 360 days just before the exams, I'd say you do a very focused study. uh, do thorough research about the topics that the INI guys ask you. And I would say, sir, the very first time while I was preparing, I did not do a retrograde method of study. I was reading the theory and then going for the questions. I would say you can also try the other way around. First, you
Right.
do the question, so you know the topic, you know where you lag. Then you can go and read the topics, so that you are you are using your energy in a very wise way. So
Right.
for INI especially, that would be very useful.
Right. So, Dr. Chinmay Ankleshwarya, thank you very much. Congratulations again. Bask in the glory. Best wishes to
Thank
you.
you,
I'm
sir.
sure you're going to get into a very good seat. And I mean, of course, I'm there always to discuss and mentor and guide you. wherever you and whatever seat you end up taking. Not just, and I always say this to all our doctoral students, that I'm always there even if your subscription ends, but our relationship continues. So I'm always there to help you and mentor you out wherever I can and whatever way I can. Enjoy your
Thank
success,
you so
best
much, sir.
wishes, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Good night. That was Dr.
Good night.
Chinmay Ankleshwaria, rank 14, both in AML as well as CML merit list. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Bye bye.